Okay, let's see exactly what the gospel says about salvation. One of the most important things we can ever get down deep in our heart is this. Jesus says he will never turn anyone away who comes to him. God has made salvation so easy, but we try to make it so hard and even uncertain. Think of this. God had to make salvation easy, or there would be some people who could not be saved. Also, if God added only one requirement to be saved, some people would not qualify. If you doubt your salvation, just ask Jesus to give it to you now, and then trust that what he says in his gospel is true and reliable. We are told God cannot lie. This is the way we have peace with God by means of faith in what is called our justification. Jesus justifies us when we're born again. Our job is simply to believe Jesus for our salvation. Speaking to Christians, Paul says, "We have now received the atonement." This means being made one with God. Now, this doesn't apply to everyone, but it does apply to all those who have come to Jesus asking for salvation. When we do this, we're justified by his blood and saved from God's wrath, because we're reconciled to God. Jesus says we must understand this word of the kingdom. Now, this is also called the gospel of the kingdom in other places. Now, when you understand this simple reality, ask Jesus for his salvation and receive it from him, because you trust him. This is all God requires of us. Then God takes over transforming our minds and hearts, and he performs the good work that he's begun in us. Paul says it's the gospel that brings forth good things from us. This is why Paul calls the gospel the power of God. Salvation is believing in Jesus and believing in the truth that he came to reveal to us, to give to us. Everything required of us is in the form of belief. Now, I spoke of this earlier as believing the messenger and also believing his message. God knows that we think and believe in our hearts. He knows our hearts. This is how we will live. This is why our gospel belief is so important to him. He knows that good behavior will never produce correct belief, but correct belief will eventually produce good behavior. We aren't even given freedom to believe everything we want to believe. Jesus says to repent of everything else and to only believe his gospel. The gospel is what can absolutely assure us of our salvation.